Every Vulfpeck fan knows the bass line to this song. But the keys part, played by Woody Goss, gets completely overlooked. We're in the key of E major, and the chords we have here are C minor 7 add 11, E minor 9, B7, and of course, F sharp minor. Now, at first sight, these chords look incredibly confusing and difficult to understand. But what if I told you that the Vulfpeck keys player, Woody Goss, wasn't thinking about them as a chord progression, but rather treating them like a melody? If we look at the top note here, this F sharp doesn't change at all throughout the whole progression. Like, watch this. Nice. And as Professor Goss said in his video, the highest note in the chord draws the most attention when it's played. And because the main melody is that juicy Joe Dart bass, Goss doesn't draw attention. He leaves space for the bass. Now, the middle notes have the most interesting melody. The notes are E, which then goes to D, which then goes to D sharp, which then goes to C sharp, and these notes contain the most harmonic juice from these chords. For example, this E is the minor third interval of the C minor 7 add 11 chord. This D is the minor 7th interval from the E minor 9 chord. D sharp is the major third interval in the B7 chord, and the C sharp is the perfect fifth, there you go, from F sharp minor. And while we're on the topic of intervals and chords, C sharp minor 7 add 11 is pretty much a C sharp minor triad, which, of course, it's made from a minor third interval and a perfect fifth interval. Yay! But to turn it into a big chord, like in this song, we can take out that minor third because there's enough notes in this fat chord, such as this minor 7th interval, as well as the 11th, perfect 11th interval, which is also known as a compound 4th interval, which is also known as perfect 4th, but let's put it up here for the funsies. And this mighty E minor 9 chord starts off as a humble E minor triad, but with an added minor 7th interval and a major 9th interval. Bam! Let's scoot on over to the whiteboard. Lit. We have C sharp minor 7 add 11. That's a mouthful, but in the key of E major, that's just the minor 6 chord with a bit of extra juice to it. And then it gets a little bit freaky. E minor 9. Wow. In the key of E major, that would technically be the minor 1 chord. Obviously, it's got a 9th in there, but like we were saying before, Woody Goss wasn't thinking about the chords specifically in the key of E major. He was thinking about them more as in the melody, which we've looked at over there. So we can see here that it's magically turned into blue because that's not a diatonic chord. That's E minor, that's not an E major. But would you look at that, the next chord is B7. That's an awful B. But regardless, that's the 5 chord in E major. I'm so tired. Yeah, 5 chord. We're back in the key of E major. No way. And magically it's turned into the correct color. Next chord. Just a nice little happy F sharp minor. And that is the minor 2 of E major. So really there's only one chord here that's technically outside of the key of E major. So as a chord progression, it's not too crazy, but it still sounds really lovely. Back to you, Matt. Now this keys part develops throughout the song into this masterpiece. Goss incorporates this simple melody, which is mostly highlighting the middle notes from earlier, the ones that contain that harmonic juice. The melody is C sharp, D sharp, and E over the first couple chords. But over this E minor 9 chord, we now play a D natural, as the melody now changes to fit the same notes in the chord to avoid any harsh, yucky sounds. And in this section of the song, Professor Goss really starts to cook. Like here, he starts to rock back and forth on the F sharp and G sharp note and noodles over a E major pentatonic scale, which kind of sounds like this. Sick. And these sick added passing chords going from C sharp minor to C minor to then the E minor 9 chord. And another way of looking at this is you could think of this E minor 9 chord as really a B minor triad over the E note. It's just a bit of tension and loveliness. And these extra nuggets keep the song Deantown grooving and really supports the band as a whole. So let's wrap this up by writing a boring song and adding some groove to it. Let's write a song in the key of D major and use the chords D major, B minor, E minor, and A. Simple chords. Now let's draw upon our influences from this song and keep this F sharp note at the top for every chord. And let's tweak the chords a bit so we can now have D major, B minor 9, which this being the minor 7th interval of the chord and this being the major 9th interval of the chord. That's the chord. And then we can go to E minor 9, which we've literally seen a few moments ago, and A6 with this F sharp being the major 6th interval. And this gives us an inner melody of D, C sharp, D, C sharp, like this. So the chords are sounding harmonically educated, but let's go the extra mile and add a run between the D chord and the B minor 9 chord. We could perhaps say rock onto the B note here and then play a D major scale going downwards into the chord. So that could sound like this. Yes! And that's it for this one, and thank you for watching. If you like analyzing music, then I'd highly recommend this Notion template that I made. There's also channel membership with stuff, there's an affiliate link below for all this stuff, and finally, if you like this video, then check out the Beach Boys song with very lovely chords in my room. Over there? I think so, I don't know. Okay, bye.